Hello, my name is Raffaela and this is my second CAS video. My video today will be about my volunteer work at Wooster Community Hospital. And during my work at Wooster Community Hospital, I completed 4 hours of creativity and 10 3/4 hours of service. I completed 8 outcomes during my work there. Firstly, increased awareness of your strengths and areas for growth. My increased awareness of my strengths came from my increased awareness of my ability to organize and be organized. For example, I worked behind the information desk with several other volunteers, and there's a lot of organization that was necessary. For example, we would get phone calls about flower orders, and we would have to stay organized on which flowers went to which room and which patient, and also to stay organized on blood samples and when they needed to be taken to and from the lab. I wasn't 18 yet, therefore I wasn't able to handle the blood samples myself, but to inform other volunteers that the blood samples were ready, and just to really stay on top of things and to be able to know what needed to be done and when that needed to be done. My areas for growth probably were more prominent when I went up to helping on floors with patients, and my main area for growth was probably just simply talking to the patients. I hadn't felt prepared to do that. I was very nervous about talking to these patients because many of them were extremely lonely and didn't have all that many visitors, and I felt that maybe I would be bothering them, or maybe they wouldn't really want to talk to me. And I don't think that's how it ended up being. I think that we both really enjoyed our conversations. However, I felt extremely nervous going into them at first, and knowing which questions to ask and what they wanted to talk about and how to know what people wanted to talk about. And I think I really grew into that. Second, undertaking new challenges. That also goes along with my area for growth. I went up to the floors and I talked to these people, and I learned so much about them, and I heard these incredible stories about their life 50, 60 years ago, or their life when they were my age. And to me, it seemed like it was another world. It was just so different from what I was used to, and it was extremely eye-opening to hear some of these stories. Planned and initiated activities is also mainly when I was working on a floor. For example, I was working on one floor that was kind of like an in-hospital nursing home, but it was short-term care for people that were going to return home once they were better or would be moved to long-term facilities. And they had a calendar, and they had many different programs going on. And during Halloween one year, I kind of took charge of one of the programs. There was a trick-or-treat thing going on, and children would come to the rooms, and the patients would pass out candy. So I decorated these trick-or-treat bags for the children, and I had them ready, and I got the candy out. And it was very enjoyable for me to plan an activity like this that I knew would put a smile on people's faces and brighten up their days. Working collaboratively with others. I mainly worked collaboratively with other volunteers, not necessarily with staff. And that was mainly when I was working in the information desks, when there were other volunteers with me. However, there weren't any other volunteers my age. All of the other volunteers were in retirement and choosing to give up their time to help at the hospital in the same way that I was. And working with them was it was a different experience from what I was used to, because they had different ideas, also because we were from different generations. But hearing their stories and hearing the jobs that they had come from, many of them from the medical field, was extremely interesting. I enjoyed working with them immensely, and well, it was just a lot of fun working with them. it was a great experience. Showing perseverance and commitment. My main, I guess, I showed perseverance mostly because of when I was working at the registration desk, which was registering patients for blood draws and for MRIs and X-rays. And it wasn't the greatest experience. There were just some things that I really didn't enjoy about that task, but I decided to stay with it, and eventually I was rewarded for staying with it, and I was moved to a floor with patients that I got to talk to, which was really what I had wanted to do the entire time. That's what I was working towards. That was my goal. And although that wasn't necessarily the greatest experience either, from the staff point of view, it was great being able to talk to the patients there and to be able to hear their stories, and it definitely made it worth my time of not being the happiest at my job. Engage with issues of global importance. Working in a hospital, of course, you have issues of global importance all around you, from the medicine point of things, the research going on, the new cures and the new treatments available, and also how to protect yourself in a place that is home to many ill people and not necessarily the safest place to be, medically speaking. Has issues of global importance. For example, knowing how to keep yourself safe, how to avoid any rooms that may be contaminated, how to always be cautious of signs, and if there were rooms that said, there were often rooms that you could not enter, they were biohazardous rooms, and to always keep watch on what you could and couldn't do to keep yourself safe. But overall, I felt completely safe at the hospital. I never felt in any kind of danger, but I could have seen myself easily get into danger if I hadn't paid attention, and if I hadn't known how to react, and if I hadn't been taught how to react in different situations. Consider ethical implications. Well, through my work at the registration desk, I saw health insurance information, blood test results, things of that nature, and then through all of my work, I saw patient names, patient information during certain times, patient allergies, things like that. And I had been briefed on HIPAA, the new HIPAA laws, and I had been briefed on what I could and could not do and what I could and could not reveal. And I had signed a contract saying that I wouldn't reveal it. And so yeah, that was ethical implication, keeping what needs to stay secret a secret, and to have patient confidentiality and patient privacy be the number one priority at all times that I was working. And lastly, developing new skills was, everything that I did was new to me. I guess the main thing that I developed was a better bedside manner, and really being able to speak to people that aren't necessarily feeling at their best, or speaking to people that really just want some company. And I think my skills in that area grew a lot, and also my skills in all other aspects grew. I enjoyed my time at the hospital, although it ended due to some unpleasant things and experiences that I had. I enjoyed my time while I was there, and although I felt badly about quitting, and I think I learned mostly that quitting isn't necessarily a negative thing. I was no longer able to do my best work there at the end, and there was somewhere else that I wanted to go, the library, which is where I volunteer now, and it's a great place. And I guess just realizing that it was okay to stop if I wasn't happy, and it was okay to move on to something else that would make me happy was the most important value that that volunteering had for me. I think the activity itself, the volunteering at the hospital, is a great thing, and anyone should try it if they really want to. They may have a completely different experience than I did, and it may end up working out great for them. So they should definitely try it if they have an interest in it. And if it doesn't work out, there are so many places that you can volunteer and so many places that really need your help that you can do some good at. So I guess the main lesson that I can extrapolate to my own life and to apply to my own life is that sometimes stopping when you're unhappy, quitting, I guess, when you're unhappy is the better thing to do, and finding an activity that you enjoy and where you're helping others still is extremely important. And if you're not feeling happy where you're at, then you should find something that does make you happy and does spark your interest. Thank you.